Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing a review on the Beretta 96. So the Beretta 96 is essentially a 92, just chambered in 40 cal. And up until I purchased this firearm, I didn't even know that the 96 existed. So the Beretta served in the military for a long time. It was called the M9. Essentially it's a 92. Law enforcement carried the Beretta 92 for a while as well. Since the Beretta 92, a lot of the law enforcement now went to Glocks and the military went to SIG. So the Beretta is not like currently on the radar, I feel like, for a lot of law enforcement or military currently. I'm not sure about other countries, they might still carry them. But the Beretta is a very well-made firearm. And I learned with this one that the Beretta is full of parts. There is a ton of parts inside this firearm. Taking it apart and doing the stuff that I did to it is nowhere near like a Glock or a SIG or anything like that. It's more like a 1911, but even a 1911 I believe has less parts than this. So I did do a lot of upgrades on this. There's a few things I've done for the very first time with this one. And like I said, I purchased it for school. I'm currently attending SDI. I purchased it so that way I could do the projects on it, and if I messed it up, then I wasn't worried about it because Beretta has a lot of parts out there. Well, the 40 cal barrels in the full-size barrel, they are very hard to find. I have been struggling to find one. I did mess it up when I was trying to do the stuff to it. I know I did. It doesn't look the best, but it's in there right now. So there's my Beretta 96. So going through it, I had never stippled anything before, so I did stipple the grips on this. It was the first time that I've ever stippled anything, and I knew that if I messed it up, Beretta grips are out there. They're easy to find, so I knew I could be able to purchase another set if I messed this up and go from there. So I will show you real quick that the firearm is unloaded. There's no mag in it, and there's nothing in the chamber. One thing about this one was that the ambi safety I didn't really care for. I learned that I was using that ambi safety more for a charging handle than anything, and I didn't like it. So I went with the Wilson Combat single side safety. I did go with the Beretta skeletonized performance hammer. And I went with the Wilson Combat short pull trigger with an entire Wilson Combat spring set. Every spring in this thing is all Wilson Combat. With the 1911 that I'm currently building, everything in there is Wilson Combat as well. For me, Wilson Combat just works. And they're not sponsoring me or nothing crazy like that. But Wilson Combat works. Their products do what they say that they're going to do, and I've had a lot of really good things come out of the Wilson Combat. I did go with the NDZ gold guide rod. The guide rod that was in here was chipping. It had like chunks missing out of it. I don't really know what the person was doing with it before I got it, but it needed replaced. So I went with the gold guide rod. I figured the gold would kind of go with the hydro dip, and then I did do the gold grip spring or grip screws as well. The Taurus I showed you guys in the last video was hydro dipped as well. So I have hydro dipped now 5 firearms, and this was one that was in the mix of everything. So I went with the Desert Digital Camo from hydrodip.com. And when you hydro dip, you want to do a primer and then do the base coat underneath and then do the dip. So a lot of questions I get from people that seen my stuff is, why do you paint underneath the hydro dip? So the hydro dip is just paint on a piece of film, essentially. The film ends up dissolving. So if you leave this metal or the black underneath or whatever the case, parts like right here, that's the base coat underneath. So if you left it black or you left it bare metal or whatever the case, you're going to see that through this. And there are some dings and stuff on here, and there's some scratches that I noticed after I dipped it. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but that right there is a scratch that was underneath the hydro dip that I didn't catch before I dipped it. So it actually went down to bare metal, and you can still see it. So the base coat underneath is pretty important. But I'm gonna get back to the firearm. So one thing I did do with a couple of them too is this base coat. I painted these other parts to match it, right? I'm not gonna hydro dip, an ejector. I'm not gonna hydro dip the trigger arm. I just wasn't gonna do it. It could have been a pain. It could have turned out good, but I just wanted to kind of leave that separation in there. So I did leave a couple parts black just because I wasn't going to paint the hammer, and I wasn't going to try to paint this Wilson Combat safety either, because, they're little parts. And when you start painting this stuff, one thing to keep in mind is the tolerances on the firearm. So I did not pay attention on this one to when I was painting it. So actually this hole for this safety, it was hard to get the safety back in. I had to take a file and go back in and file down to bare metal underneath here to be able to get that safety back in there. So tolerances on the firearms, when you start painting them, you need to pay attention to it, because it's going to cause some issues when you go to put stuff back together. Okay, it's a learning process. It was a learning process for me. Some people out there are professionals and they already know this stuff, and for somebody learning like me, it's not something I really thought about until I did it, right? So all the springs internally in this is all Wilson Combat, same as my 1911. I've had outstanding results from Wilson Combat. Everything that they say that they're going to do, or their products do or going to do, for myself, have performed exactly like they said they were going to. And the night and day difference between some of it is crazy. So I did do the 3-pound trigger. So in single action, let's see if I can, that trigger comes back and it's like a quick clean break, and that's it, right? Now the trigger pull on single is still a little bit heavy, but this is designed to be a combat firearm, right? It was used for that. So that ruggedness and that heavy trigger pull, I don't mind it, because this is not a competition gun for me. This would be an everyday carry or just a range gun, essentially. And even an everyday carry is kind of stretching it for this particular one. But I did do the short pull trigger. I did the Wilson Combat safety, and then all the springs. I do plan on getting the Wilson Combat rear sight. I just haven't ordered it yet. So like I said, this is a project gun. It's not a gun that, I really have a whole lot of plans for now. It's kind of together. And then I did try to port the barrel. So when I tried to port the barrel, I torched it first. It's an old blacksmithing technique to where you torch it and it'll prevent the rust. I did try to torch it first, and then I did sand it down because I was filing all these little holes out. So there's no sharp burrs on it anymore. It's all nice, clean, and filed. Originally, it was just a port. I tried to hold it because I didn't have a jig and pull the drill press down at the same time. That did not work out. So I did go back and try to put extra holes in it and kind of line them up. That, as you can see, did not work out either. So I did try. It's not something I'll do again, and I do plan on replacing the barrel. So since I did that, or since I put it all back together, I have not had a chance to go to the range and fire it. So when I do, I'll let you know. I did do the follower to match, as well as the base plate to match the firearm. And I did do my first holster with this one to match as well. So everything is matching. It's a clean firearm. I did file down the rails when I was putting it back together, so the slide works really easy. And I don't have any gripes or complaints about it now. I really enjoy the way it turned out. So thank you guys for watching. A lot of the YouTubers out there say hit that like and subscribe button. I'm only 2 videos in. I do plan on doing quite a bit more. So if you want to, you can hit that like and subscribe button. It'll help me out in the long run. This is kind of one of them things to where I'm an average person. I'm learning how to do this stuff on my own. Everything I'm doing is at home. And, for a long time I chased firearms. Something new would come out, or there was something I thought I wanted, and I just chased and chased and chased. So my goal behind this channel is to go over and tell you guys kind of how I feel about certain things and the stuff that, I look for in purchasing firearms, doing the accessories, and then kind of to help, maybe keep people from chasing firearms so much. you know Sometimes you get so caught up in chasing that you don't focus on what you actually have. So I did do that for a long time, I'm gonna be honest about that. And then so I just want to bring knowledge, and once I do start getting a little bit better at the hydro dip, there's still stuff that I want to learn, but I will do videos on that, kind of like at-home videos, to show you guys how I did it, how I went through and turned in my projects for SDI. So I am attending Sonora Desert Institute right now. I've always done all my own work on the firearms, but I'm learning new stuff. And with these schools, especially with something like SDI, and I went to school for auto collision and auto body and paint. So I learned a lot in auto collision and auto body paint. That's actually helping me out quite a bit with some of the stuff with SDI. But the whole goal behind it all is to prepare you to do the stuff in the workforce, right? You're not going to come out an expert in anything when you do it, especially if you don't apply yourself in school. So what they do is build the confidence. They show you how to do it, build your confidence up, and show you how to get the knowledge or where to go to figure things out. And that's what I'm going through now. So I think the SDI is actually working out quite well for me, as well as the other school I did attend, working out quite well. But getting into the firearms and doing what you want to do and taking stuff apart and all that, it takes time to build that confidence up, and it takes time to learn the processes, and you're going to mess up. So, to all of you out there that's watching now and future people watching, take your time, do your research, and, stay calm about it. Make sure you have the tools that you need when you start getting into all this stuff. So thank you guys for watching again. I'll keep bringing you guys different things on different firearms. I do kind of have a flagship firearm, I guess, because I'm trying to build some type of a brand. But I do have one that's coming out very soon that I think you guys will enjoy. All right, thank you, and have a great day.